Why not?
Do it live. And we're live on Versus. We were just coming on right before this, and Corey and I were like messing with our settings and all sorts
tinker,
of doodads.
tinker.
Versus episode 2, or in this case, episode 2.
Oh, episode peace sign? What is that?
Episode peace sign. Welcome everybody to our second episode of Versus, where Corey is back once again representing Podcasting After Dark. I am representing Caddysack II and $2 late fee and territory marks.
I'm representing Ghostbusters II, Zach.
Yes, you are. And last episode was so much fun and filled with so much excitement and drama and chills. No, that was, I think, me coming down with a really bad flu or vice versa. It's also Corey's birthday month. So I had so much fun with you, Corey, last month. And I was like, well, I want Corey to be on this all the time, pretty much. But specifically coming on your birthday month, happy birthday.
Thank you.
And I wanted to piggyback on a discussion you and I had on Tales from the Video Store, which is a Patreon exclusive show to $2 late fee. However, patrons to Podcasting After Dark also have access to that episode.
Yeah, Zach, let me drop it over on Pad's Patreon.
Yeah, we celebrated your birthday. We talked about movies you would rent as a kid if you were having a birthday party with your friends, and I loved it personally. And a couple of movies that you brought up, one in which was Caddysack II, and I'm like, ooh, I want to talk more about Caddysack II. And
for those of you who didn't listen, I did not bring it up as like I wanted to watch Caddyshack. It just kind of came up in the discussion. It wasn't one of my birthday movie picks. Trust me.
Yeah, this is true. This is basically like your this is a sequel to your birthday, so to speak. And sometimes sequels are great. In the case of the first two movies you rented on your birthday, they're great. I won't say what they are. You'll have to listen to the episode. But in the case of your sequel birthday, the sequels were not so great, considering one of them was Caddyshack II.
Not every sequel can be Aliens or Empire Strikes Back or what's another good sequel?
Yeah, rattle off some decent sequels. What are some? Lethal Weapon 2 is a pretty good sequel.
Yeah, Lethal Weapon 2 is a good. I mean, I think a lot of people at this point, when they think of Lethal Weapon, the series, I think a lot of times they think of Lethal Weapon 2.
And that's the diplomatic immunity one?
Has been revoked. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, so unfortunately, we are going to be tackling the other side of that coin, sequels that we wish had never, ever happened before. But before we jump into those, and I think it's going to be a lively discussion, Zach, who won the first match? Who won episode 1?
Well, thank you for bringing that up. And I wanted to remind everyone, for those that are new to this show, Versus, myself and whoever is joining me, in this case, Corey, for both of these episodes, will be basically having a friendly debate on a topic. Whoever wins that debate, depending on if they have a Patreon members or have a Patreon show or have followers on Instagram or social media, whatever, the winner will pick a listener, follower, etc., to win a prize. So last month's episode, Corey has a Patreon, Podcasting After Dark, patreon.com/podcasting after dark. And mine is, $2 late fees is patreon.com/$2 late fee. And the winner of last month's debate, Real Ghostbusters versus Filmation Ghostbusters, was the Real Ghostbusters. Which cartoon was better? And in this case, it was Corey's pick, the Real Ghostbusters. So the winner of that, and I'm pulling it up right now, I apologize for a little bit of commercial interruption. The winner of that topic is Carson Morris. So Carson Morris, you are a Podcasting After Dark Patreon member. We're both on Podcasting After Dark as well. So
Zach gets half of Pad's Patreon.
Yeah. So congratulations.
I don't get half of $2 late fees though.
Oh yeah. I gotta work on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Figure
I need to
something out.
renegotiate my contract.
Yeah, see?
Just
Yeah.
kidding. I have a blast, buddy. I do it for free because I love it.
Right, right. Well, we'll factor in some percentages on the downside. But yeah,
On the back
Carson.
end.
So the back end, the winner will be. I'll be sending Carson a Blu-ray courtesy of Kino. Carson, I'll be emailing you offline, and we'll make all the particulars, get your address, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, the winner of the topic will basically pick a winner from their kind of pool of followers, friends, etc., to win a prize from Kino, a Blu-ray. So
I have a feeling. I kind of have a feeling that $2 late fee might be winning this one.
I got a strong feeling about that too. So
I think people have strong feelings about both of these movies.
I think they do. So today's topic being, which you announced, was worst sequel, Caddyshack 2 or Ghostbusters 2. I'll be representing Caddyshack 2. Corey will be representing Ghostbusters 2. The game works like this. When the timer starts, whoever goes first will have 3 minutes to basically talk about why their movie is the worst. Which this might actually be easier to do than talking about why something is the best.
I know. And it's a fun little exercise. And especially if this is literally the first time you're finding either of our shows, Podcast After Dark or $2 late fee, we tend to actually lean the other way on things. We tend to not do the whole snark thing. We tend to not do the Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing. We actually try to elevate crappy movies. So this is like really not on brand for us, but I think both of us, I mean, it's on brand for me and what I feel about Ghostbusters too. So it's not like we had to change our way of thinking for this, you know?
No. I mean, we typically tend to lean more into the positive, which, I think is kind of surprising because a lot of podcasts don't. A lot of podcasts like to just crap on things, and that's fine. It's neither here nor there. That's just not our that's not our bag,
baby.
Yeah. And, so this is a little bit out of left field, but I think it's going to be a playful way of figuring it out. So 3 minutes to basically bash your movie, then a 1 minute rebuttal on the other side, probably reasons why it's not as bad as the other one. And then at the end, we'll have some final thoughts and we'll wrap up the episode. And also I'm going to tease, this is the last kind of content episode for the month of February on $2 late fee. We've had a busy month with Grace joining us for a discussion about Side Out this month on $2 late fee. Interview with Christopher Rydell. Christopher Rydell, besides being in Side Out, was in Dario Argento's Trauma, which is one of his first American movie he made with his daughter, Asia.
Is it? Yeah. Is it Asia or Asia?
I think it's Asia.
It's pronounced Asia. Okay.
And then we had an 80s Kids Unite, EnterTech. It was Corey's birthday. We talked about the EnterTech water guns that
was so much
looked
fun.
So rad. The good old days. I was talking about this with Bodhi the other day. I said in the 80s, real guns were cool. Kids, boys specifically, wanted to play with real guns and smoke candy cigarettes.
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Can't do that anymore, really, I guess.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, and then we wrapped up with the season 3 premiere of Territory Marks with myself and Paul London. So rolling into March, Corey and I will be doing a really fun 80s Kids Unite Martial Art Madness episode. No Retreat, No Surrender kind of celebration throughout the month on $2 late fee, and a whole lot more fun. But let's get to today's topic, Ghostbusters 2. And this is a movie theater pin I got when I went to the movies to see Ghostbusters 2, because they used to get out cool pins back in the day, and I still have mine.
I mean, that's actually kind of cool. I'm not going to lie.
It is. It's got, sorry about the cut on my finger. It's got the cool logo, but we'll figure out whether it's really cool or not.
Yeah.
But before
where's your Caddyshack 2 pin?
I don't have that. In fact, I don't have my Warner Brothers catalog celebrating Caddyshack 2. By the way, Paulette, who's watching right now, and thank you for watching, Paulette, she asked the question, which movie franchise didn't need sequels to ruin it because it was ruined from the start?
Oh,
that's a really good question. We might bring that up on a future show.
That's got me thinking, like, what star kind of became a bit of a pain in the like sort of like no one really liked and thus killed the sequels to it.
I mean,
Interesting.
Chevy Chase.
Yeah, Chevy
Well,
Chase was well, maybe that's why we never got a Nothing But Trouble 2.
oh yeah. Gosh, I wish we would have. But
I know, I love that movie.
so we're gonna start with Corey tonight,
Okay.
Ghostbusters 2. He's gonna kick it off. But before we do, I'm gonna show everybody the trailer to Ghostbusters 2 to refamiliarize everyone with set.
Ghostbusters.
It's 5 years later.
Look who's here!
A lot of things have changed.
I thought it was gonna be He-Man.
Ungrateful little yuppie larva. But when the slime starts to rise,
The Titanic just arrived.
and ghosts start arriving by the boatload, who are you gonna call?
Suck in the guts, guys. We're the Ghostbusters.
It's slime time. 2 in the box, ready to go.
We be fast and
They be slow. Bill Murray,
I need to feel loved. I need to be desired.
Dan Aykroyd,
Slime! It's a river of slime!
Sigourney Weaver,
Don't put any of those old cheap moves on me.
I have all new cheap moves.
Harold Ramis, Rick Moranis, Annie Potts,
Typical.
and Ernie Hudson in an Ivan Reitman film, Ghostbusters II.
You're scaring me. Stop it.
Rated PG, now playing at theaters everywhere.
My God, I couldn't have been more excited as an 11-year-old boy. I couldn't have been more excited for that movie, and I couldn't have walked away as an 11-year-old boy more disappointed in a movie.
Hold on, I'm gonna set the timer for you. 3 minutes on the clock. I'm gonna let you go off in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right. So first off, I hate the No Ghost logo. What is Moogly doing? Is he giving us a 2 for the Ghostbusters 2, or is he giving us the peace sign? I don't know. And I hate the fact that it's on their jumpsuits in the film. Like if it was just for the logo, I get it for the Ghostbusters 2, the movie, but I don't understand why it's on the side of the Ecto-1, why it's on their jumpsuits. What are they a 2 of? Like did they go out of business and come back? I don't get it. I hate it. Slimer doesn't seem to be the same green spud he was in the first movie. Now, because of the Real Ghostbusters cartoon, they had to make him friendly. So of course that he's kind of weird in this movie. And he doesn't really fit. They dropped the whole Janine Egon love angle from the first movie, which I mean, I always loved. I still enjoyed it. It was first season of Real Ghostbusters, but the cartoon. And it's because of them dropping it in the cartoon, they drop it in the movie as well. Rick Moranis' Louis Tully is a shadow of his former self. He didn't write his own lines like he did in the first movie, unfortunately, and he really has nothing to do in this film. But the biggest, I think, egregious and what killed me the most as a kid is after watching Real Ghostbusters every single goddamn day for however many years on syndication between Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2, the Real Ghostbusters, every single episode, they are on top of their game. They are the #1 guys in town. They are the superheroes that we all know and love them for. And then in Ghostbusters 2, the movie starts with them down and out and essentially as losers. And I'm like, what the hell is this bullshit as a kid? I was like, no, this is ridiculous. I can't stand this. And it almost felt like they tried to make things fit with Real Ghostbusters, like Janine not being in love with Egon and Slimer being different. But then they made the Ghostbusters like down and out. Like, no, they are on the top of their game. And you know what? I walked away from Real Ghostbusters 2 and I said, and I walked away from Ghostbusters 2 and I said, just give me the Real Ghostbusters. I'll go watch that. Unfortunately, I didn't have DVDs or Blu-rays back then, so I had to wait for syndication. But Real Ghostbusters for life,
seconds.
RGB, Real Ghostbusters 2, down and out. Can't stand you. Can't stand you.
And you know, I'm gonna give you 20 more seconds if you got anything more to say.
I mean, that's basically, I mean, I would love to hear anyone's thoughts about the No Ghost logo for real. Like for real. I'm telling you, as a 47-year-old man, as a ghost head, as an official ghost head, I still never understood why Moogly was doing the 2 in the movie. I understood it in as marketing for the film, but I don't understand it as characters in the movie. Why they would have that.
All right, time is up. And hold on, pause. Wow, what a cacophony of caca to put upon a film. I was trying to come up with a C word.
Yeah, alliteration.
Yeah, okay, so I have 1 minute basically to rebut anything that you had to say about Ghostbusters 2. I give myself 1 minute on the clock, and we will go from there in 3, 2, 1. So first of all, the soundtrack for Ghostbusters 2 is phenomenal. You've got Bobby Brown. I think On Our Own or On Your Own is one of the best soundtrack songs of all time. It's of course got the reprise of the original song by Ray Parker. And you've got Howard Huntsberry singing Higher and Higher. You've got the Statue of Liberty coming to life and walking down, Broadway, basically in New York. That's phenomenal. It's an hour and 48-minute movie, almost 2 hours. And I believe it's about 6 or 7 minutes longer than the original. So you're getting more Ghostbusters. And that's all you really want to see. You've got a judge in the beginning of the movie who screams his head off so violently, it triggers people that have ever had an abusive parent. I mean, come on. There you go. That's my case for why Ghostbusters 2 is actually not as good as Caddyshack, or not as bad as Caddyshack 2.
And then I think we have at the very end of everything, we get a chance to throw out any thoughts, right?
Yes, we can have like a little back and forth.
Okay, because I do have a couple things that I actually like about Ghostbusters 2, but I'll throw those at the very end.
Fair. Okay, so I'm gonna before I jump
3 minutes for Caddyshack 2.
Nice job, by the way. Very nice job.
Thank you.
Before I jump into Caddyshack 2, I'm going to show the 30-second home video trailer for that. So here we go.
Let's get ready to rumble! The shack is back.
Well, that was in the upper deck. Oh, that one's gone.
Bingo! Good manners are back.
You think it's safe to hit a ball in a place like this? It's a ballroom.
Good times are back.
Woo! You know, I'm always shooting myself with those darn poison-tipped crossbow darts.
Caddyshack II.
I don't know why they don't put a warning on the package.
Rated PG.
All right, so I'm putting 3 minutes on the clock for Caddyshack 2. This is a lot of fun, and thank you everybody for joining us. And for those of you that are watching us on the replay, thank you for watching on the replay. I'm going to put 3 minutes on. Let me make sure I got the buzzer ready as well. Okay, 3 minutes and go. Okay, so my thoughts on Caddyshack 2. First of all, the original was a rated R movie. This movie, PG. This movie came out almost 6 years after the original, maybe 7 years, which means that's a long time to wait in between sequels. Maybe Back to the Future was the only one that gets a pass as far as having to wait so long for a sequel to a movie. Of the returning actors from the original Caddyshack 2, and let's run down some of those Caddyshack actors. Rodney Dangerfield. Well, he was going to be in this. They really wanted him to be in this. The studio did. But according to IMDb, whatever, he took this script and he threw it in the trash. So he wasn't in it. You
Ozzy
don't have
wants to be in it.
Ozzy, my dog, wants to be in it. You don't have Noonan. You don't have any of the original caddies. What you do have is Chevy Chase, who comes back to reprise his character. He hated being in the movie, apparently, but he took it probably for a paycheck. And then you've got Jackie Mason as your quote unquote star. Name one movie in the 80s where Jackie Mason is the star of a movie, carries the movie on his own. Robert Stack, who I think we all know and love from, Unsolved Mysteries, is the villain in this. He hated being in it. He's not very good in it. Randy Quaid is an over-the-top. like essentially replaces, well, he was supposed to be played by Sam Kinison. So Sam Kinison and Rodney Dangerfield were both going to be in this movie. Sam Kinison pulled out because Rodney Dangerfield threw the script in the trash. So he's replaced by Randy Quaid, who normally would be a fantastic actor, but in this, it's just over the top silliness. And then Dan Aykroyd putting on a weird affect to his own voice to quote unquote sound like Oliver North, according to he was quoted for saying that. Why he wanted to sound like Oliver North playing the character that he plays, no idea. He's replacing the Bill Murray character, which was gold. The gopher or groundhog or whatever the heck it is now a cartoon character, where Warner Brothers wanted to basically build a franchise around this kind of, rip off of Bugs Bunny, to the point where they were selling plushies on their Warner Brothers store, and it fails miserably. And then replacing, the original Noonan in Caddyshack 1, which is Michael, I'm blanking on his name right now.
I'm Roseanne. That guy, he was in Roseanne. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was married to Bonnie Raitt, and he's great. Jonathan Silverman doesn't scream Caddy at all to me. And I think that's just enough for me to say the movie sucks.
Perfect.
You have 1 minute to rebut,
okay,
my friend. And
1 minute to
1 minute on the timer. In 3, 2, 1, go.
First off, I'm going to start off with the best part of the entire movie is that Kenny Loggins song, Nobody's Fool. I mean, it is an absolute banger. Kenny Loggins is always fantastic. I love that song. It's in both of our sequels actually have a very strong song, and I think that really, really helps. Chevy Chase's one shirt that we see in that is amazing. It's so 80s fantastic. As a kid, let's look at it from a kid's point of view of being PG. I think leaning into the gopher thing, I think that was actually probably a smart idea, because I think this movie really has nothing else to offer. So just lean into that gopher and have fun with it. I remember as a kid, I kind of liked Dan Aykroyd's shtick, like what he was doing. I think it's right for what they're trying to do with the movie. That being said, as an adult, I think it's terrible. But as a kid, I thought it was kind of funny, and I understand it. I understand the idea behind it. And I'm going to end it by saying that both of our movies were written by Harold Ramis, and I love that man, dearly. So.
And he was supposed to be, he was a part of the script for Caddyshack 2, but did not even want to be a part of it whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know how much he actually wrote of Caddyshack 2, or if it was more of like just taking concepts that he had written for the first movie. But I did find it interesting that, of these two sequels, and now we can kind of do like a sort of a freeform discussion of these two sequels. They're both written by Harold Ramis, or at least his credit is on both of them. He's one of like 3 for each one. So that's kind of sad. But they both had amazing songs. Like, so for Ghostbusters 2, yeah, seriously, where are those darts when we need them? Like, I do truly hate Ghostbusters 2. But I do truly love that Bobby Brown song, and I do truly love that Kenny Loggins song, Nobody's Fool. And a couple for Ghostbusters 2. I mean, Peter McNichol as Jonas Poha he's fucking great.
Definitely a
highlight. And I think the best ghosts from any of the movies, from both of the movies, is the Scarelli brothers from Ghostbusters 2. I think they really nailed the look of the real Ghostbusters, and they made they looked fantastic.
I agree.
And it's also something a little bit interesting. I do like in Ghostbusters 2 how it has the villain, Vigo, is kind of throughout the entire movie, whereas in the first movie, Gozer's just at the end. Like, she's not really like. Yeah. Movie actually has a proper villain in Ghostbusters 2, but none of those things can save it from the fucking garbage pile. I hate Ghostbusters 2, and I love Ghostbusters, and I hate Ghostbusters 2.
Well, and before I forget, Michael O'Keefe played Noonan in
there you go.
Caddyshack. I just don't want to miss saying his name. Yeah, honestly, like all the points that you said about Ghostbusters 2, positive and negative, I'm pretty much on board with 100%. I feel like that movie is 20 minutes too long. It's the fact that it's almost 2 hours is amazing. Like they could have potentially gone with so much more kid-friendly stuff for Ghostbusters 2, especially because Real Ghostbusters is already out at this point, right?
Yeah.
So
They should just made a live action Real Ghostbusters episode.
yeah, why they didn't do that is beyond me. It really bugged me. The whole Janine and Tully love thing really bugged me, and just completely abandoning that. And then to bring it back into the future sequels, or the future re-envisions, and have, Janine have feelings for Egon, like, okay, so we're basically just ignoring part 2. That says enough. That says a lot already if they're just ignoring part 2. Yeah, the whole marketing campaign was cool for the 2, but they should have.
I get it for the marketing campaign. I get it
marketing.
for the logo of the movie. I do not understand in the lore of the movie, inside the movie, why they would have those. Like, why? Like, we're back. Well, then just put like we're back under the normal No Ghost logo. Why are they redesigning the branded logo? Like, it doesn't make sense from a brand standpoint.
It really doesn't, and that's a shame. I will say on the Caddyshack front, Caddyshack 2, yeah, this movie's trash.
From beginning, I think Caddyshack 2, I do believe, even though I'm trying to win this, is the worst of the two. I never fucking need to see that movie ever again.
Yeah, it's really like all around bad. I will say Patti Smith has a great song on the soundtrack. The Pointer Sisters have a good song on the soundtrack. Eric Martin from Mr. Big, who's got a great voice, he's got a banger song on the soundtrack. So already on top of Kenny Loggins' song, and then Corey and I on Tales from the Video Store, and this isn't giving too much away from his episode on Tales from the Video Store, which is exclusive to $2 late fees Patreon. So go to patreon.com/$2 late fee. It's also on this month's Podcasting After Dark Patreon. So go to patreon.com/podcasting after dark. But the song maybe isn't as strong as I'm All Right if you start breaking it down, because there's so many references to the original song. But it is such a it's a really fun song.
I mean, the Bobby Brown song, I don't think is as good as the Ray Parker Jr. song, but I think it's like fantastic in its own right. And yeah, Nobody's Fool. I don't think it's as well known as the I'm All Right one and everything,
right.
But I think it's in its own way. It's fantastic. I personally love it. Both of those songs are on my 80s Grady's playlist, and I also do have the Ray Parker Jr. song on there, but I do love the Bobby Brown song, and I do love Nobody's Fool.
Yeah, they're both great. And overall, the soundtrack to Ghostbusters 2 is really good. I believe like Dougie Fresh is also on there too. And
it is good. And yeah, the Statue of Liberty was good too. And I do think, Ghostbusters 2 has some better moments in it. Man, Caddyshack 2, it has nothing good in it. And again, I say that from now, but like as a kid, there were some things I liked, but now it's just like nothing. There's nothing in that fucking movie.
No. So I mentioned this.
There's only anger and resentment from all the cast is all that's in that movie.
Right. So the Warner Brothers was, I think they were probably trying to bite off of Disney, but they were trying to get into the marketing thing, and they had a Warner Brothers catalog. I'll look online after this is over, and I'll see if I can post some pictures on our Instagram for $2 late fee. But I remember the gopher being like, you could get your own gopher plushie, and you could get, I think they had Chevy Chase wearing like a Back to the Shack t-shirt or a Caddyshack II t-shirt. The idea is cool, but it reminds me of what happened later on in the 90s with like Kindergarten Cop, and where they would make a sequel to because they own the property, and it was just easier for a studio to put out a sequel to something because they already own the property. It's easy. By the way, the sequel to Kindergarten Cop, which stars Dolph Lundgren and Bill Bellamy, is hot garbage as well. But we're not going to cover that because I think that didn't come out till like the early 2000s. But I think the case is pretty obvious which one is worse than the other. However, we'll leave it up to you guys to decide. You can go vote here in our comments. Leave a comment to which one you think is worse. Caddyshack 2 or Ghostbusters 2.
And I know it doesn't help my case, but I do want to mention, I forgot to mention, I do very much like the charcoal gray jumpsuits in Ghostbusters 2.
I agree with you. I think again, seeing how real Ghostbusters came out, it feels muted now. And I'm just like, oh, but I really love the colors that were in
They
Ghostbusters.
should have just made a live action real Ghostbusters, movie.
And we still haven't gotten that in 2025.
Never will.
So never will either. However, you can watch the cartoons again. And Caddyshack 2 didn't get a cartoon. Oh, let's not forget too that Caddyshack 1, and we kind of talked about this on Wrap Up After Dark. Caddyshack 1 is a sex comedy at its heart. I know it's the snobs versus the slobs. That was the tagline. But Noonan, his whole deal in there is like he's shacking up, quote unquote, with the Irish coworker, and then he's shacking up with Lacey Underall. So there is an element to it that is definitely as a sex comedy, to piggyback off of My Tutor, which we just dropped on Podcasting After Dark.
I just hate it when they take an R-rated movie and then the sequel is like, PG. It reminds me of like the first Aliens versus Predator movie. It's like, it's PG-13. I'm like, but both of the original properties are hard R, and then you combine them to form PG-13. It's like, why? Why does that happen?
I'd say the only time I thought that was successful, and I'm probably wrong. There's other examples too, but Police Academy franchise, when they went to more kid friendly, still not though. Like you've got, anyways, that could be a discussion later on this year. But you guys know where to vote. Comments, go to our Instagram. You can vote on the versus post that is both on Podcasting After Dark and $2 late fee. Or if you're on Facebook, occasionally you can go on there too. But let us know which one you think is worse. And
worse,
then
not better. Which one is you're voting for the worst sequel?
Which one is doggy doo-doo, caca? It's all caca. And don't get confused with my awesome Streets of Fire poster too, by the way.
Yeah, he's so proud of that.
I'm so proud of that.
And he's going to take it down immediately after.
My wife's like, it's coming down, right? I'm like, yeah, don't worry, it's coming down. So next month episode, which will drop at the end of the month. We dropped this one on Monday. I was like, let's just do a Monday instead of Sunday. Just check our social media to find out when the next episode of Versus will drop. And if you're not subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please go to Podcasting After Dark's YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button there as well. And join us next month for another episode of Versus. It's going to be a martial art madness inspired.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, it's going to be... we'll just have to tune in and find out. And the winner will be announced. The winner of this episode will be announced at the end of that one.
There you go.
Well, thank you, Corey, once again for joining me. You're my brother from another mother.
Love it, man. This is fun. I like this because I never did the debate team back in high school, and this is it's a fun little mental exercise, and I enjoy the prep for it, and I enjoy kind of getting ready in the discussion that happens. So I know I'll not be on all of them. I know that, but I actually have some ideas for the next one. So let me throw some ideas at you when we get off this call. But
I love that. Well, you might not have gotten on the debate team, but you got off on my debate team.
There you go.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this episode of Versus. And, it's a forever evolving show. So don't be surprised if it continues to get better, bigger and better. But until then, we'll see you next time. Sorry, I'm ending the stream now. Goodbye, everybody.